What up? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pencil SoundCloud, SoundClick. It's your boy Tone Chill Too, and I'm gonna do another Army basic training video. Uh, I went. I was in the service back in '88, and I already talked about what I did at basic training. Some of what we did, but I want to talk about Paragon trails. Now, I'm 50 years old, so I'm sure within the last 20, 25 years or whatever, Paragon Trails has changed. But the reason why I make these videos talking about the service is so people who are either going into the service or have been in the service can talk about it and compare notes. The last video I made, I had the pleasure of getting some really good comments and feedback from other people who were in 85, 88, all the way up to 96, 97. And a lot of what they said is pretty much the same. So here's the basics for me. I was in Fort Dix, which is in New Jersey. That's where I in processed. I came from Pittsburgh, so I went from Pittsburgh. That's where I was recruited. Went to Fort Dix, and then from Fort Dix, I also did my AIT at Fort Dix. I was a 94B, which is a cook, food service, and I think that's changed now. And after that, I went to Darmstadt, Germany, and from Darmstadt, Germany, well, when I was in Darmstadt, Germany, I was assigned to 32nd ADCOM AAD, which is a missile air defense unit. And I went from there, and I was in Big Red 1. I forgot what unit, but basically I worked for the MPs and the jail. So I worked in the jail as a cook. Then I out-processed right when Desert Storm was declared war. So I'm a peacetime veteran. Yeah, anyway, so that's my history, but Paragon Trails. So, Paragon Trails, basically, what they did with us is, I'm trying to remember so long ago, but I'm gonna tell you something. I loved it. I mean, I was 100 pounds lighter. I was around 200 pounds, so I wasn't 100 pounds lighter. I'm 275 now. I was around 100 pounds. I was running the 2 mile in 10:28. Between that and 10:36, my average was about 11. So I was pretty fast and I had endurance, which helped a lot. When it came to Paragon Trails, I wasn't very well liked, which was okay with me. I wasn't there to make friends, but nonetheless, I had like one or two friends. But for the most part, I wasn't liked. People they wanted to start crap with me to try to fight with me or whatever. But I was like, okay, whatever. I keep my mouth shut and listen to people, sell their wolf tickets and whatever. Nonetheless, like I said, I had good endurance. I was bench pressing about 305. The reason why I'm mentioning no stats is because you don't want to be unhealthy and try to go into the service and then try to get healthy. That's just backwards. You want to exercise as much as you can first, lift weights, run long distance, do a lot of calisthenics, push ups, some isometrics if you can, whatever you can to train your muscles. Because there's just a lot of different things you do in the service, and a lot of times you're gonna do it on an empty stomach. It's not set up for your benefit and for you to be comfortable, but it's set up for your benefit in the long run. It really trains you on how to survive in a bad situation. It's not very comfortable. So nonetheless, so I was bench pressing about 305. I was running 2 mile about 10:26, 11 flat average. So nonetheless, when Paragon Trails start, they take you there during the day, take you in a big old cow truck. Literally, one of them trucks you see the cows in, you're shipping in that. Bunch of soldiers. Boom. They drop off whole units there. So my whole company was there. I would think I was Charlie Company. Uh, we were there. No, I was Bravo Company. I'm sorry. I was Bravo Company, and when we touched down there, it had to be a couple hundred of us. And basically, Paragon Trails is. Oh, okay. So set the mood. They wait. They talk to you first. They tell you the instructions on what's going to happen and where to go. They tell you that for one, there's going to be bullets, live rounds flying over your head. They had explosions, a lot of mock grenades. I don't know, M50s, I think they were. Boom, everywhere. So they're like, this is all going to happen to you. And you're like, okay, whatever. So when the nighttime comes, they squad you up. I think we were like the 10 to 12 man squad. And your position in the squad is very important. For one, you can get lost. And like I'm not even playing around. Like when it's nighttime, the only things that you really see are the tracer rounds, and they have a flare, and that flare it's a different kind of flare though. It's not like a red flare. It's a flare they shoot up and turns everything bright, but you only have so long where you can see, and you're running through the woods. Okay, so you got your lead person who's running through the trails, and of course you got your guys behind them, and your last person, which I was, bringing up the rear, you're running like this. And then sometimes you're running backwards, and you're trying to keep your eye on the person in front of you. Once that flare goes down, it's black out there. The only way that you can tell that there's another person there is, for one, you can hear them running, and two, the cat's eyes on your helmet. So those of you who've been in for a while, you remember the two little white cat's eyes on the back. Well, those were glow in the dark. So those two little strips was mad important because, because you can easily get lost and just run off somewhere or run into the wrong spot. So nonetheless, you had a trail to follow, Paragon Trails. You had a trail to follow. Now, I'm running. You listen to everybody breathing, and you're running, and you're running, you're looking, and you're looking behind, you're looking, and you're running, and you hear it's chaos. You numb the noise. Boom, boom. People getting just people exhausted, people scared. I mean, it is crazy, but I had so much fun. I was like, yeah, that's good. Like I wasn't saying it, but I was so amped. So I'm running, you M16, we had M16 A2 air cooled, it's 7.5 pounds. You feel every bit of that. Like it's not heavy, but it's your awareness that you got this gun because you really think you're about to shoot something. Like I'm telling you, man, it did what it was supposed to do. Paragon Trails really did what it's supposed. I mean, I'm in 25 years, I still remember it. Like I can still hear myself in my crew running through them damn woods. It was so much fun to me, but I knew it was serious. So we running, and I'm running backwards, and I'm running, and I'm looking at my crew, and I'm running, and then I turn around, and we come to this opening. Like, they had these, I don't know what kind of lights they almost look like stadium lights. But, it's pitch black, and then they got those lights. And then you had to, get down a low crawl. Because then the 50 caliber firing over your head, you could see the trace rounds. You could see you can see that last trace around, and I just let you know where the bullets was going. There was one on each end. So and they were real rounds, but they were firing well over your head. And so you're running, right? Next thing you know, you have to stop, drop, and get with it. You have to low crawl because there's barbed wire there. About this time, one of the dudes who was, trying to badmouth me, I ain't saying nothing to him. He was a white dude, and he was a little heavy set. And what happened was when we were running through the trails, it wore him out and it scared him. So he was scared and tired. So we got the low crawling, and he was ahead of me. He was in my squad. He was ahead of me, and he was, because you low crawling with your weapon, and he ran out of steam. That was it for him. All he could do was lay there. When I tell you he reached muscle failure, I mean this dude looked like he was dead. And I saw him, and I low crawled. I was already rolling, and I low crawled, and I saw him, and I grabbed him. I didn't even say nothing to him. I recognized who he was. I just grabbed him, and I started low crawling with him. And I was able to encourage him to, to push and keep going. I had my weapon. I got him. He's barely hanging on to his weapon, and this dude had to be over 200 pounds. And I'm like, come on. So we crawling, we crawling, we crawling. We finally get out, and I mean, you had to crawl. It was probably, I would say, it was probably close to 100 yards that you're crawling. So it was maybe a little shorter than that, but it was a lot of barbed wire that you had to climb up, and you couldn't put your head up because you get snagged on the wire. Like the wire was real, it really cut you. So you're really up under there, and the whole thing was designed to, if you're not in shape, to get in shape, to scare the hell out of you because you're seeing these tracer rounds, and to let you know hey, it gets real quick, and anything can happen out there. And even though we're not at war, just to see those guys who, because he wasn't the only one who were having trouble when it came to the low crawl, and was just stuck for a minute there. It just really made you start thinking, like damn, war isn't only just against the